going to be talking about focus. What a word, right? Today I want to start off with a story of Mike Flint, which you may or may not have heard, or you'll remember halfway through as I'm telling it. Mike Flint was Warren Buffett's personal airplane pilot for 10 years. And for those of you who don't know who Warren Buffett is, he's one of the wealthiest people in the world, super nice guy. Now, Flint has also flown 4 U.S. presidents in the past, so chances are he's pretty good at what he does, right? Now, according to Flint, this is through Flint's side, he was talking about his career and his priorities with Buffett. When Buffett at the time, his boss, asked the pilot to go through this 3-step exercise that he created. And here's how it works. Step 1. Buffett started to ask Flint to write down the top 25 career goals that he had. So Flint went ahead and actually wrote them out there. He's like, okay, 25. It took some time. He's like writing it down. Now, I want you, as you're listening in, to start thinking about 25 goals that you have or career goals that you have, and possibly even start writing them down, just to kind of go through this whole process that Buffett took his pilot through. All right. So he said, all right, write the 25 things that you want to do in your life. It could be for your career. It could be for your life. It could be a combo. It could even be the 25 things you want to accomplish this year or next year. So get specific. That's step 1, he said. Step 2, Buffett started to ask Flint, he said, well, out of these 25 things, I want you now to think of and review the list and circle the top 5 goals. Out of everything you have here, circle the 5 that you think are the most important ones. Now, again, Flint took some time. He looked through them and he made his way through the list. And eventually he decided on the 5 that were the most important. Now, this was not an easy task. If you've done this before, you know that to narrow it down from 25 or even from 20 to 5 gets super complicated. But he did it. Now, step 3, Buffett says, all right, Flint, you've got these 2 lists. Flint's like, yeah, I got these 2 lists, the one with 5 and the one with 25. Obviously, the one with 5 is the most important, right? List A and list B. Now, Flint confirmed that he would start working on his top 5 goals right away. He's like, you know what? I'm really inspired by this talk. I want to go ahead and do this as fast as possible. I can see now what I need to focus on. And Buffett said, well, what about that second list? What about the ones you didn't circle? And he's like, well, the top 5 are my primary focus, but the other 20 are close second. They're still important, so I'm going to work on those intermittently as I see fit. They're not as urgent, but I still plan to dedicate some effort into it. And then Buffett said, no, you've got it all wrong, Mike. Everything you didn't circle just became your avoid at all cost list. No matter what, these things get no attention from you until you've succeeded with your top 5. Now, most people don't think they're capable of extraordinary things, and that's because they're always focusing on everything that comes across their table. Everything that they could think of, everything that other people are telling them is important, that's important. And the story of focus from Buffett to his pilot just goes to show you how mostly everybody thinks. They give the same focus to everything in their life. And so I'm going to take it one step further. And this part is from the MREA book. Towards the end of the book, if you've ever read that far, it talks about focus. And it breaks it down into 5 things, but I won't go into all 5 things. I just want to go into one. And that's to aim high. And so when Buffett was telling his pilot, hey, break it down to the top 5, he's saying, hey, I want you to aim high. Forget about everything else that you wanted to do that's not in the top 5. I want you to go for your dream. But most people don't think they're capable of extraordinary things, so they never bother to try. And maybe they do try, but again, the focus is all over the place. And most people, when that happens, they'll spend more time criticizing and tearing down others than actually doing the work. Now, here's what the MREA book says about it. Do it. You have to focus on the process and big models. And the challenge is that we often don't focus on models and processes. We focus on the outcome. Like, hey, how much money is this going to make me? Right? But if you remember the call we had about 2 weeks ago on marketing, you focus on objective first. Too often we just focus on that goal, right? Those 5 goals that we're talking about. I want you today to think about this. Let me give you an example of what you should be doing. And this is specific to real estate. Here's where we incorporate part of what Warren Buffett said and part of the MREA into your life. Let's focus on real estate. If I was going to say, hey, what is my goal for real estate? I'm going to narrow it down to the top 4 things. And I'm going to be very vague because I want to give you a better idea of what it looks like. Leads, listings, leverage, and learning. The 4 L's. I know the MREA talks about the 3 L's, but they're missing one, and that's learning. The 4 L's is easy to remember. Leads, listings, leverage, learning. When you think of leads, you're thinking, well, how can I grow my database, past clients, or people that I know? All of these people that I connect with, and then focus on your strengths. When you think of listings, focus on this market. What happens when you get a listing? What do? How do you market to get more from it? And when you think of leverage, you focus on 2 things. One is always hiring talent. And number 2 is looking for that technology that can help you leverage what you do best already. And the last one, which is learning, probably the easiest one that we all know about, but yet we put aside like it doesn't matter. And yet it's the one thing that can help us grow in every business. It has to do with your mind through reading, through webinars, consistent education, your mentors, what you listen to. And when you look through these 4 things, you aim high. You have a list of a whole bunch of crap that's on your to-do list. Now it's time to narrow it down to the most important things in your life. Those things that you know if you focus on, those priorities, will take you to the level that you want to go to. Stop clouding your life with things that don't matter, and stop focusing on things that are not going to take you where you want to go. This week, today, write down this list. Cross out all the things that you know don't matter in your life, and focus on those things that you know will take you where you want to go. Thanks for listening in today, and remember, please subscribe, click on that little bell, you'll get all the notifications when I get a new video out. Have an amazing day and an amazing week.